Content creation is pretty time consuming, and it can feel like a full-time job in itself. I would know because right now, it is my full-time job. And if you have a job already, or if you're busy with other responsibilities like your business or anything else, I know just how time-consuming and overwhelming this can feel. I imagine this is how Peter Parker feels, having to juggle being Spider-Man and a broke photographer, except we don't get the superpowers or Zendaya as a girlfriend. But I do understand where you're coming from, because before I was a full-time creator, I had to juggle being a videographer while I had to create content in my spare time. But I was able to do it successfully, and I was able to help my clients do the same thing, and they had even more responsibilities than me, like children or very, very intense jobs. If you don't know who I am, my name is Ryan. I grew by over 100,000 followers in less than 6 months, and I'm gonna show you how you can do the same without feeling overwhelmed. So, listen up, take notes, and let me explain to you the framework I use to have a balanced life as a content creator without quitting your job. Let's get into it. Like I said, content creation is tough, but it gets way tougher when you don't have the right mindset about it. Make no mistake, if you're a freelancer, business owner, or a creative in any way, social media is the biggest opportunity you have to grow in your field. And if you have dreams of leaving your day job, you're never gonna get there with inconsistent posting and inconsistent commitment to content creation. So, first, we need to make sure that content creation is something that's actually priority to you and not just something you say is a priority. To do this, we're gonna implement a few practices that keep you motivated throughout your day and making progress throughout your day without you feeling completely overwhelmed. And your first step is going to be changing your inputs. And by inputs, I mean your media consumption. Social media is an extremely powerful tool that can literally hypnotize you and change the course of your day, and in the long term can change the entire course of the way your life goes. A few hours a day on social media can easily turn into years of your life over a long enough time horizon. But we're gonna show you how to use this tool intentionally rather than letting the algorithm completely ruin your life. When I was trying to build my marketing agency on the side while I was working a really boring job, I listened to and consumed media about marketing and video and all of the things that interested me every single day, specifically every single morning. Some days I'd only have time to throw on a video really quick while I brushed my teeth or I was getting ready in the morning, and that would have to suffice. However small it was, it reminded me how important my goal was to me, and it helped me to define myself by the work I wanted rather than the work that I was currently doing. It's very easy to start thinking of your dream as a faraway project that might never happen or could happen at some amorphous time, but that's not how dreams work. We have to be very intentional about them, and we have to chase them. They're not just going to appear in front of you. So in practice, if you want to stay motivated, you need to choose a few creators or podcasts or books that you're going to consume on a regular basis. And you want to do this intentionally, because if you're just letting the algorithm choose, you're gonna find yourself scrolling all day and find yourself completely distracted. I would say choose about 10 creators or podcasts that you really, really enjoy and that fully make you motivated, and let those be the ones that you go to every morning. We don't want to be overthinking this every day. It should be an automatic decision that you wake up and you put on that podcast. Now, beyond just having great inputs, we also need a system to stay accountable to the actions that we're going to be taking. All of the other steps here are about very real actions that you're going to be taking throughout your day. But those actions are going to be very tough to keep up with if you don't have someone or something that keeps you accountable to them. Here's what accountability means. It means that you're going to feel a little bit embarrassed or guilty when you're not taking actions towards the things that you promised that you would. And it's easy to feel like that guilt or that stress or that embarrassment is a bad thing, but in this case, it's not. It's the correct feeling that you need if you want to make progress. It is necessary to get uncomfortable if you want to make progress in a new venture. And look, there's multiple ways to stay accountable, but most of them center around the concept of loss and reward. One way is to tell a friend or a mentor what your goal is and have them check up on you to see if you're actually making progress. And this works best when it's a friend that's striving for something similarly ambitious to you. You don't want to tell your lazy friend, because your lazy friend can't hold you accountable to the same standard because they don't have high standards for themselves. You want someone that you can both mutually hold yourself accountable. This doesn't work as well when it's completely unbalanced, when you're the only one going for something and the other person is not striving for anything at all. A mentor is a great version of this because they've achieved the things that you're looking for, and they can tell you the steps that you actually need to take while keeping you accountable to them. Now, another way, like I mentioned before, is to put something on the line for it, right? To make sure that there's some level of loss involved here. For example, if you pay for an expensive gym class, you're gonna feel compelled to keep going. I know a lot of gyms that have you pay beforehand, and if you don't show up specifically for that class, you don't get a refund. So this incentivizes you to continue to show up and continue to better yourself. And this way, the loss is actually a feature and not a bug. It's something that helps you to stay accountable to yourself and to your goal. Now, as an aside, I have a community that incorporates all of these features for accountability. You have me, who will act as a mentor that will keep you accountable, and you have your peers in the community that will also be growing alongside you and keeping you accountable as well. Now, there's a lot more to it, but this is not a video that I made to sell you anything. So if you're more interested in it, just click the link in the description. But regardless of if you choose my community or you choose someone else's, or you just choose to do this on your own, you need to find some method of keeping yourself accountable. And the ways that I listed here are the best ways to do it. It's very hard to do this completely on your own. Now, let's get into the actual actions we're going to take to manage content creation along with our day job or our other responsibilities. One of the most difficult parts of content creation that I found is feeling like as soon as you come home from your job, you have to spend more and more time just working on content. It's almost like you have a completely separate job and you're already tired from work. So we need to make sure that this is not as much of a problem as it usually is. We don't want to come home from work and then immediately just start working hours and hours on our content every day, because most of the time, it's not even as productive as you think it is. Instead, you should focus on batch filming your content, probably one day out of the week. When you do this, you're not going to feel like you have so much on your plate. It's just going to be one day that you're going to take a few hours out of to work on this thing. Now, there are a few daily practices that you can do that lead up to when you batch your content, but first we need to talk about how you actually batch things effectively. When you're batching content, you want to make it as easy as possible to get up and go record on the day that you chose to batch. For me, this would mean setting up my lights, setting up my tripod, all of the things that I needed to record my content, so that it was almost harder for me not to record than it was to record. So then on the weekends, when it was my free day, I would wake up, I would see my lights all set up, and I would see everything was ready for me to record, and I would say, okay, all I need to do is go and make the content. There's no need to make this harder on yourself. Discipline is great, but I believe in making it as easy as possible to stay disciplined in the activity that you know you need to do. Now, this also gets into having a mini studio for yourself, right? I like to have a corner of my house that I like to film in. You're looking at me do it right now. And if you have that already set up, you know that you can just go sit down and record your content. And then you also are going to want to prepare for that day so that you're not just going in completely blind. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So the days before you batch your content, it's important that everything is fully planned out. Like I said, we do not want to go into this blind. When I'm filming my content, I don't want to be thinking about what I'm about to film. I just want to go in and say the lines that I've written for myself. I'm basically just an actor showing up to set. And before that, I can be the director, the writer, and everything else. But on the day of me batching my content, I'm just a person showing up to say my lines. This means that in the days before I batch my content, I'm researching, I'm writing, and I'm fully planning out the shots that I might need to get so that I am fully prepared and I can turn my brain off when it comes to thinking about what I'm about to do on the batching day. And you might think, oh my God, this is gonna be so hard. This is what I was trying to avoid. But this planning process can be done with only about 30 minutes to an hour a day. Let me show you exactly how. Try to come up with at least one idea per day that you can use to film on your batching day. It might be tough for you to remember to plan things out. So set a timer or a reminder for yourself so that once you get off work or when you have that little spare moment that you always have, you can remember to plan out at least one idea. Now, to actually come up with pretty good ideas, you want to think about the problems or issues or things that your audience are looking for. And you can actually find these on the internet because your audience is probably telling you exactly what those are. This is where research is going to come in. You can look at other creators in your niche and see what is the comment section about. What are their top videos about? What are the things that people are gravitating towards in your niche? This will tell you everything that you need to know about what type of content you should be making. Now, the big thing here is that you don't want to outright steal anybody's content. That's not the goal here. You're just looking for inspiration in the type of topics that you're going to be talking about. So for instance, if you're in the fitness niche and you see that a lot of people are making videos about six packs, those are the things that are getting millions of views all the time. Okay, we know that Videos about six packs are the things that people are really interested in. So our approach is going to be, how do we keep making more videos about ab workouts? What is it about these six-pack videos that people like? Is it really the six-pack, or is it just how simple the video was made, right? Your goal is to find these problems, find the things that people are gravitating to, and find a way to put it in a consumable format for your audience. The topics are not trademarked, but style is. If you steal someone's style completely, you're gonna get called out for it, because style is very, very recognizable. So make sure to change something about your approach to the same idea. Maybe it's the angle that you're coming at it with, maybe it's the way that you film it, maybe it's your specific perspective. But either way, you wanna make sure that it's not just a one-to-one outright theft of their idea. Now, simply write down that idea in the most descriptive way that you can so that you're fully prepared for the batching day. And when I say descriptive, I mean get pretty descriptive. There's a lot of times where I'll write down a basic idea and then I'll come back and look at it just a few days later and be like, what the heck was I talking about, right? We don't want to confuse ourselves, so make sure that you're fully describing that idea that you have. Now, I have some templates for how you can write these things down in a very clear way in my community, so make sure to check those out whenever you get a chance. Okay, so we figured out how to film our content with batching, and we figured out how to plan out the day beforehand, but the hardest part that a lot of people talk about is the editing. For some, the editing process feels like it takes hours, and for others, it might even take days to do. But I want to help you to bring that time down so that it doesn't feel so overwhelming to do. Now, I have an entire free course on how to cut your time down in this regard, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. If you're interested in that, the link is down below. It's called 1 Hour Creator. But I'm going to give you the basic essentials that you need so that you understand what you actually need for editing and not all the extra stuff that's going to waste your time. A lot of people focus heavily on the details in their editing that honestly don't matter that much, especially when you're starting out in content. So here's a few of the essentials that are actually important for your editing, and all of the other stuff are just bonuses. You need captions, which most editing platforms will do for you automatically. And you need to be able to illustrate your point using visuals. This means adding clips, images, or words that people understand, and you need to add things in your video that keep people engaged. This can come in the form of sounds, more clips, or slight special effects, but nothing crazy. We're not trying to make Avengers level movies here. Now, the keeping people engaged is the part that most people struggle with, but here's the secret. If you do a really good job with your script and with the ideas that you have, you don't have to work so hard in the editing room to make sure that you're keeping people engaged. Editing is just a way to enhance the original idea that you have, but it can't really save a terrible idea or a terrible script. With that being said, I'm going to be honest with you. This is not something that is going to be automatic. It's going to take some work, and there's going to be some days that are going to be way harder than the others. But what I will say is that you don't need to burn yourself out, and you don't need to work a whole another extra job in content creation. It doesn't need to be that hard. In fact, if you can give just 2 hours a week, I believe that's enough for you to be pretty successful as a content creator. So, hope this one was valuable to you. Keep creating, keep doing your thing. Check out the extra videos I have and subscribe for more. See you in the next one. Peace.